Hello everyone, happy Friday. It's your girl, Dr. Shanita Williams here with Feedback Friday. That's right, it's our time to pause and just say, whew, thank God we made it to Friday. So for those of you who I'm meeting for the very first time, my name is Dr. Shanita Williams and I consider myself a feedback enthusiast because I believe we can truly live our fullest potential if we know how to unlock and unleash the beauty in the complexity of feedback. So tonight, what I'm going to talk about are performance reviews. This is the time of year where many people are walking into their review, their annual process of really evaluating their performance. Now, I've had several people reach out to me over the past few weeks saying, help, my review's coming up and I'm really nervous. If you're nervous about going into your review, I want you to know that's absolutely normal. A lot of people go into their reviews really apprehensive because sometimes it's the only place that they've ever received feedback. If that's you, you're in the right place to prepare for your performance review that's coming up. Now, here are some quick tips on how to do just that. So what I want you to use is what's called a SWOT analysis, all right? So it simply means strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, I really want you to spend time thinking about your strengths. Oftentimes we don't, right? We think we're going into that review thinking about all the things we did wrong, all of our mistakes. That's where you're wrong. You want to start first and foremost by prepping yourself mentally to think about your strengths. I know you've probably made some mistakes this year, but there are probably a lot of things you did really well. So I want you to pause and think, what are the things that I did that brought me energy? What are the things that I've accomplished that I'm proud of? What are the things that I've really seen myself develop in over this past year? Whether it's projects or skills, relationships, resources, pause and think about your strengths. When you do this helps your mind really stay balanced when it comes to the feedback experience. You're helping your mind also keep in mind the good things that you bring to the world. Now, once you've spent some time thinking about your strengths, then I want you to think about your weaknesses. Now, weaknesses are the things that take more energy, right? It could be something that I want you to think about. What are some of the things that I avoided this year? Some of the things that I was like, I'm going to save that to last because I don't really feel like doing it. Those are some of the things that either are not interesting or just require a different set of skills that you do not necessarily have fully built. So I want you to think about, where were those big learning moments for you? Where were those gaps for you? Write it down. Now, here's the thing. If you do this, you're mentally preparing yourself to walk into that one-on-one, right, annual review already knowing the facts. So the key is to mentally get yourself prepared. Oftentimes people walk into the review just unsure about what they're going to hear. So they're literally holding their seats, holding their breath and sitting on the edge of their seats, wondering what the person's going to tell them. If you do the work and take the time to really celebrate yourself and think about your strengths, and also be honest with yourself, because, we all have a growth mindset. There's opportunities for us. You're going to put yourself in a better position to be able to receive the feedback that might come your way. If you do this well enough, you might already have the feedback that they're going to give you. Now, here's the thing. For both your strengths and your weaknesses, I want you to also write examples. Don't just say, I'm really good at presenting or I'm really good at proposals. Really think of examples. What specific presentation do you want them to think of when you talk about your strengths? Even when it comes to your weaknesses, I want you to give them an example of where you struggled, but where you're going to focus. Doing that shows that you are mentally prepared for this experience. Now, after you do the strengths and the weaknesses, what I want you to think about are your opportunities. These are the bright spots. Not only do we want to look in the past and think about where we got to get better, but I want you to look ahead and think about what's coming up in this next fiscal year. Maybe the organization is going to launch a new team, or perhaps there are some new initiatives that are going to roll out. Maybe there's a new leadership position or a transfer in another department that you believe is going to come up in the next few months. You want to be thinking about the opportunities that lie ahead. Get yourself mentally ready to think about how you could be positioning yourself after this performance review for the opportunities that you see before you. But you have to be looking internally in the organization and as well externally to see what those opportunities are. Again, if you go into this conversation prepared, That means when that leader gives you your feedback, you can also drive that conversation and say, and here's where I see my future going. And here are the resources and the path that I'd like to take. That way you just go in there with a little bit more confidence than hoping and praying they have a plan for you. Last but not least is to think about the threats. I want you to think about, okay, what are some of the things that might get in my way? What are some of the things that could prevent me from fully growing and developing in this next year? Whether it's, time, maybe you have too many priorities or projects that you're doing. Maybe it's finances. Maybe you wanted to start a degree program and you quite haven't made it there yet. You don't think you're going to have those resources available. Either way, it's important that you think about what those potential threats are. What could get in your way? That way, you go in that review with your strengths outlined, your weaknesses outlined, but you also have identified opportunities to develop and potential roadblocks that can get in your way with the threats. I'm telling you, if you walk into that review with that already mapped out, you're on track to really driving that conversation. And quite honestly, reducing the stress that comes along with it. Oftentimes we're stressed out because we're unsure about what we're going to hear. But if you do the work and give yourself feedback, you'll put yourself in a better position to not only grow, but to truly reach your fullest potential. So I hope this tip is helpful for you. Best of luck as you go out and have your performance reviews. Don't forget to, if you want to get mentally prepared, what you could also do is get some of our feedback literacy cards where you can actually work on building your confidence and your knowledge around how to really take control of that feedback experience. These are only $15, so if you want to develop your feedback skills prior to that review, feel free to reach out. All right, have a wonderful weekend, everyone, and I'll see you next time.